Hi, Joe Soto here again with Revenue Inbound, and I'm here for Tai Lopez's social media marketing agency program, and I'm here to teach another piece to the sales process. And this is really the presentation piece. And while I think that you've been getting kind of bits and pieces throughout this entire program of how to sell, I think Tai has given a lot of really good information on getting the most important thing right, which is your mindset. And by the way, I think that should be the module, those modules, any of the modules where he's talking about belief systems and mindset should be the ones you watch the most. I think some people think, well, I should be watching the Facebook and how to get Facebook results for clients the most. Well, honestly, you don't even need to watch that video until you have clients. So if you're watching how to get results using Facebook before you have clients, you're doing it backwards. And I bet no one's told you that in this program yet. So, because the most important thing is clients. So this is right in there with if you have an appointment, how do I present? So there's a lot of different ways you can present. There have been some really good comments and group shares in the Facebook page, on the Facebook group page, that I try to look at least once a day, and every once in a while I'll answer questions in there. I know some of you are tagging me. I do the best I can with the time that I have to get in there and chime in once in a while. But I have seen some really good shares of people sharing their experience selling a client. And I think that all of it's been good. And so if you can apply what you're learning to get clients, terrific. If some of the stuff that I've taught in some other modules with how to get clients in your own backyard, how to prospect and find clients, I hope that's been helpful. I saw somebody yesterday or today say they did a meetup group, and they took my advice and went to a meetup group and got some instant prospects that way. To me, it's rewarding to hear people actually going and doing some of the stuff that we're telling you to do, because everything I share with you in this program, I've done myself. I either have done it or I am doing it right now. And one of the things I do on a weekly basis still is meet with clients. Now, I've recently hired another salesperson on my team. I want to hire an army of salespeople actually for my team, but right now I have really a passion for sales still. I had a sales training company for almost 10 years prior to kind of reinventing myself like many of you are doing back in 2009 when I was really contemplating having my own social media marketing agency that I really launched in 2010 and been doing it ever since. But I've always had a passion for sales, and so getting clients is priority number one. And I have another module that you can watch that we're recording about the same time as we're doing this one called 0 to $1 Million in Revenue that really focuses on how important that is. Encourage you to watch that. But in this case, in presenting, this isn't the only way you should present. This is just one way. It's really my style for presenting that I think might fit some of your styles that are watching this. So let's say that there's, 5, 6, 10,000 people who end up watching this module or more. My guess is a good percentage of you would appreciate this style because it doesn't take a lot of work or setup. And the good news is there's other people inside of the training program here, other trainers that you can learn from who have different presentation styles, who are giving you different ways to present and get clients. And I think you should study and learn those. I don't have one way to present, but I am going to show you one way that's worked really effectively. And I think it really comes down to keeping it as simple as possible. First of all, I don't take a lot of consideration into dressing up too much. Do I believe in dressing for success and all that? Sure. But at the end of the day, your client cares most about whether or not they think that you can help them. And that comes down to your belief system and mindset and looking them in the eye saying, I can help you. So don't overthink that, and you got to be yourself. Whatever that means and however you dress to feel comfortable in front of a client that gives you the most confidence, that would be my suggestion. You should know by now that you've got to take control by asking questions when you start an initial presentation, and that really is the start of it. Before I do a screen share and show you what I actually present visually to a customer, I want to talk about the most important part of my appointment and my presentation, and that is getting all of the information from them that I need or want to have them tell me so they feel like they've gotten everything off their chest or they've expressed as much as possible. I know that I don't want to do my presentation unless I've got some of their pain points out that I can then highlight while I'm doing my presentation and point out to them. And so that means I got to ask a lot of questions. And I get asked this a lot, Joe, how do you open up your presentation? Well, I open it up with when someone's made an appointment with me and they expect me to just come in and talk about myself and my services and talk about what our agency can do for them, I immediately go into questions for them. And I tell them, I'll say, listen, and they'll say, okay, tell me what you got. There's I had somebody like this the other day I met with, and he was like, he wouldn't even, it's like 2 seconds into it. He's like, okay, tell me what you got and how much is this going to cost me? I'm like, wow, I haven't even had a drink of water yet. And I said, you know what? For what information I know right now, this is going to cost you at least $1 million a year. And he's like, he started laughing. I said, no, I'm serious because I don't know anything yet, so I better charge you high just in case it is a lot. And he kind of chuckled, and I said, listen, here's what we'll do. And I took control. I said, I have some questions that I want to ask. I really want to get to know your situation, what you guys are doing, because it may not even make any sense for me to be able to help you or make any type of offer. And before I talk about myself, can you tell me a little bit about your story? How did you start this place? How did you start this business? In this case, it was a restaurant. And you get them talking. Tell me about your current situation. It's a great question. What's your current situation? Now, most people are very prideful. They don't tell you, oh, we suck, our sales are bad, we're suffering, and we need a lot of help right now. They don't want to show their vulnerability, how do you say that word? They don't want to show how vulnerable they are. How's that? Right out of the gate, because they know you might capitalize on that. So instead, you got to guide them. And probably one of my first questions I asked them, in addition to telling me about the current situation, is why did you invite me in here? What motivated you to have me in today? That immediately puts it on the onus on, hey, you're invited and you're the expert and you just want to know why. They'll sometimes tell you the real reasons why, but you might have to dig for it. So, why did you agree to meet with me? What motivated you to meet with me today? I have this in the handout that you'll be able to get in this module. What else have you tried to do prior? Tell me a little bit about your marketing efforts. What's worked? What hasn't worked? What do you wish that worked? What did you hope for that would work and didn't? And I get them talking. And I just shut up. That might be hard to believe for some of you who know me, but I just shut up and let them do most of the talking. And I take notes. Now, nothing irritates me more, especially when I go out with a salesperson and they don't take notes. Taking notes is a signal to the person you're selling to that you give a shit about what they're talking about. And you want to show that you care. So take some notes. And also, don't trust your memory. If you're selling a lot, you got to take notes. Because when you refer back to your week, your day, you better have those notes typed up. Now, most of the notes I take, I type up on my computer or on my iPad. Sometimes I'll write it down, and that'll usually depend on them. If I see they come to my meeting and they have a notepad, like a yellow notepad and a pencil or a paper, then I might pull out a paper and a pen on my side and just kind of have that slight nonverbal rapport there where I'm taking notes with them. Otherwise, if I can tell they're more high-tech, if they have an iPhone or something, I'll jump on my laptop and say, listen, I'm not checking email, I'm typing notes here. I point out that I'm taking notes because it indicates that I want to listen to something that they have to say that I think is important. And I take good notes. This part of the module is, I'm not going to dive into all the questions and the entire script of what you should say. I really want to keep this focused on what you're actually presenting. Because I think people are caught up on, what do I show them? What do I present to a client? But my second goal is to understand their current situation, their pain points once I find out why they met with me. Third goal is I want to know where they want to take the business. Now this gives me information to be able to present to them. And I want to be able to feed this stuff back to them in my actual presentation, which is next. The worst thing in the world is you walk into a client prospective meeting and you just start blabbing and start throwing up everything that you do and everything that you offer all over your customer. And this is how people fall into that trap. They walk in, the person says, listen, I don't have very much time. We have 15 minutes. Tell me what you've got, what your services are, and how much is it going to cost me if I were to do it. And you feel like, oh, they're rushing me. I don't have any time to ask my questions and do that part, so I better do the most important thing, which is present me. I'll stop a meeting right there and say, listen, maybe this isn't a good time then, because I really need to understand your business better and your situation before I could make any type of proposal. Or even give you any type of ballpark of what I would be able to do for your business in the next 15 minutes. If you don't take control and take the alpha stance of that situation, you lose. You'll lose that client. And that's how I'll talk to them. And I might say it with a smile, but I mean it. So just keep that in mind. But I do want to know, before I start presenting, I also want to know, in addition to, what problem are they trying to solve and what hasn't worked for them, And where do they think their business should be is my next piece, because I want to know where they think it should go. Now, you've heard me say in another module that I tend to ask the question, where is your current business financially at? Where should it be? And where could it be? You have to have rapport to be able to ask that question, but I have no problem asking a business owner that question. I'll say from one business owner to the other, where's your business at financially? Now, some people don't want to disclose their sales. And that happens once in a while, but I'll tell them, you don't have to right now, but if we're going to work together, you're going to have to tell me where your sales are, because I need to know what to aim for. And if I don't know where I'm at and what I'm aiming for, you wouldn't want me helping you in your business. And they usually always agree to that. So make sure they talk first. That's key. Make sure when they're done talking, then you can ask for permission to share what you do. So I'll say, I definitely can help you based on what I'm hearing. Whether or not you want that help is another story, but we'll decide that here in a moment. But would you like me to spend a few minutes and tell you what I do? And then they'll say, sure. And then this is where you can do all kinds of things to present. One of the things that helps me, it's probably been the fastest way for me to get to a close, is to just show some social proof. Because at the end of the day, they don't believe you when you walk in the door. You're one of maybe dozens of social media people they've talked to who really couldn't help them before. And so what's going to make you different? And the one thing that's going to make you different is being able to show them the difference between what's good marketing and what's bad marketing. And I always talk about the power of comparison. Robert Cialdini, in the book The Psychology of Persuasion, he calls it the law of contrast. But I think it's Michael Masterson who calls it the power of comparison, because I want to then, and usually you can do a comparison of their current marketing. If you've done your homework before you've walked in, maybe you've done an audit before you walked in, that would even be better. But if you've done your homework and you know what their Facebook looks like, or their Twitter, or their Instagram, you can then do some comparisons in real time. Now, if you're brand new to this and you don't have any clients, or you can't really show them your own client success, you could still use this tactic, because you can use one of the restaurants or one of the businesses that I or any one of your colleagues in this group have showed you as a success story as a case study example to show a comparison to. They don't have to know whether it's your client. You can just say, for this business, for example, you can see that they did this and this and this. Now, I'm not lying to the client and pretending that other people are my client or not. They say, is that your client? I say, no, it's not one of my colleagues. This is actually one of his clients. But then I'll just keep going. I'll steamroll over that question and then keep pointing out some successes. So let's go to the computer real quick, and I'll show you what this looks like. So for example, you'll see here on my screen here, I have this business Requin. Now, if you listen to my social media audit module, I showed you kind of a walkthrough of how I would do an audit and things that I look for in a business's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And so this is where I'm going to refer to the same business again, because this is a new client for us. They have 527 likes, been around 10 months. They're a restaurant, doesn't have their menu on their Facebook page, among other challenges that they're facing. So what I want to do is I want to show them the difference between a post that they have, for example, and then a post of what a post should look like. So in this case, it says, come have dinner, treat yourself to dessert. They have 4 likes. And so I'll say, look, let's look at your post here. And I'll give them a compliment. You've got a beautiful photo. This food looks so good. I kind of want to stop this meeting and start eating that. If I happen to be at the restaurant, if this is their restaurant, I'm at the I want to eat here. It looks great. Unfortunately, nobody else thinks that. You want to know why? I'm going to go, why? Because no one saw it. No one saw this picture. And so I can tell that only 4 people saw this. And even though I'm not an admin of this page, I can tell you that your reach for this post, because you only have 500 and some likes, your reach for this post was less than 150 people that this actually reached in terms of people who saw this in the feed. And then I'll educate them. I'll say, the reason for this is that a couple of years ago, Facebook made some changes to the way that your post on a business page shows up in people's feeds. And you may already know this, but the number is less than 5%, meaning less than 5% of anything you post on Facebook is going to be viewed by your fan base. So if you've got 527 fans, you can count on about 5% of those people actually seeing this post of this incredible looking dessert. And if you're lucky, it's over 100 people. So I know it's under 150, and if you want to check real quick and verify that I'm right, you can. And they usually know I'm right because they know what their stats are and they know how dismal it is. And I might go down and look at one more just to really make them feel bad. So I may say, look at this. I can see here that you have happy hour from 3 to 7, and then you're showcasing one of your drinks, which, by the way, also looks delicious, but only 3 people like this photo because, again, no one's seeing it. So I'll really highlight the fact that no one's seeing this. And again, I'm not showing them a fancy PowerPoint presentation. I'm just simply showing them in real time here the difference between bad and good. And their pages happen to be the examples of the bad to compare to. So then I'll say, okay, let's take, for example, my restaurant. And you don't have to say this is your restaurant, but you can say, just take, for example, this restaurant that happens to be in Lakeville, Minnesota. This is Barley and Vine, which, side note, is a restaurant that I have ownership in. But you can see here, it says, ladies' night is looking good. A cool cucumber martini and a forbidden fruit martini. Reached almost 2,000 people on social media, had 31 likes, 7 comments. A little different than and I'll go back to their page. A little different than your happy hour post, which had 3 likes, no comments. And then I'll say, and if I go back to that dessert that you had, and then let's go back to, and you could pick any restaurant. It doesn't have to be mine. It could be any restaurant that's killing it. Because they just need to see what great looks like. And typically by showing them the difference between bad and great, they'll start to believe that you can, because you've identified it, that you actually have the ability to do it. Now, if you have some clients already and you've gotten some early success, this is really easy for you because you can just say, let me show you an example of another one of my clients. I know it might be totally unrelated to your business, or it might be a little bit different in your business, but let me just show you the type of success I've already created for them on social media. And what's crazy is that the perception of this creates the conclusion in your prospect's mind that you're going to increase their business as a result of this. Because now they may say, well, how are you tracking if that's actually helping them? And then that's a different conversation. We'll talk about that in a moment. But here's an example of another post, again, of drinks. 4,500 people reached 68 likes, some comments. Let me just keep scrolling down. We sure are highlighting a lot of drink. And my startup disk is almost full. Just popped up. That means I'm using a lot of, my gigs are running out over here. Okay, so let's look at some more examples. We did some painting in the restaurant. Here's a video we did. I'll show them this too. I'll say I don't see any videos really on your page, so you did like one. You can see this video here. We got over 4,000 views. We reached over 10,000 people. We had over 78 likes, and we had over 8 comments. So, and I'll ask them, are you doing any type of video marketing for your business? And then they're going to say no. Okay, I want them to admit to me that they're not doing this type of marketing. All right, so really all we're showing you here is that you're creating a situation that people can compare what they're currently doing to what you're doing, or to what you've done to help other clients that are in their niche. Again, if you don't have clients yet, you can show similar businesses in their niche, maybe in other cities or other areas of the country that do have, in your eyes, a successful social media presence, so they have something to compare it to. Now, I've gotten away with this, where I've shown, I'll give you, here's a great example. We had a plumbing company who came onto our business, and they said, have you ever done anything for plumbing or HVAC companies? And we have, but it's been a long time. In fact, the last one was 2012, I think, or 2013 was our last HVAC and plumbing company, because we really hadn't targeted that niche in recent years. And so I didn't use that as an example. In fact, I didn't even go and, I did mention the business's name, and they were familiar with that company because they're a big company in the East Coast. But I instead, for comparison examples, showed them restaurants. I showed them hair salons. I showed them online e-commerce sites that we've helped. I've showed them other types of niches and businesses so they could see what successful social media looked like for other types of businesses. And then I said, basically, it's the same principles apply. It's still Facebook advertising, 101, 201, 301, 401. It's advanced marketing, it's advanced targeting, and it's Facebook. The differences are we're just doing it for you as an HVAC and plumbing, and you're going to give me the information I need to become more of an expert in your business and industry. And at the same time, we're going to be able to apply these principles that have worked for other businesses. So don't get hung up on that. But in this case, in the law of contrast, we can show them businesses like, in this case, on Barley and Vine's page, you can see there's 10,000 people who like this video, this live video, and there's 78 likes and there's 8 comments. And you know, if I go over to Yummy Pig Barbecue, which is a restaurant that I have ownership in and own in Leesburg, Virginia, you'll see they're always doing live video here. And while I don't have Business Manager open to be able to see the reach, you can see here that, and my wife likes that one, by the way. This is, don't forget, it's Wild Wednesday Burgers today at the Pig. 2,200 views, 49 likes. There's a bunch of comments. This is good stuff, right? So you can see, you know, here's the bacon. They have a bacon appetizer, which, by the way, is delicious. You'll never taste bacon this way again. And you can see that it's getting comments and likes. You know, and then I go over to there, you know, let's say I'm talking to Raquin and I say, okay, let's look at yours. You've got 3 likes for this smashing potatoes post that you have here. And I see that, you know, you're going to be doing restaurant week and you only have a few likes. And you got this incredible looking spinach and white bean dip, which I want to eat right now, and it only has 3 likes. So, and I'll do the same thing for Instagram if their Instagram is terrible and ours is better. I'll do the same thing for Twitter, but they really don't need to see a lot of that. They need to see a couple of examples. You don't have to spend that much time presenting this. At most, I might show 3 or 4 different Facebook pages. I might show an Instagram account if they ask. I'll also show examples of how we've collected an email. So I might open up Constant Contact, or for a client that uses Constant Contact, I had a client who recently just did this. For example, the Twisted Cork Grill that just opened, they gave away a $50 gift card. And before that, they gave away a soft opening. Here's the $50 gift card, and you can see here, in this case, we used Constant Contact. So I just want to show them that, yeah, they reached 44,000 people. It got 649 likes and 314 shares. And I make it sound like that's matter of fact, like that's what they should get. Because at that point, your client's going, oh my gosh, that alone is better than I've ever done on my Facebook. And I'll say, but the real strategy to this was that we allowed people to enter by giving their email address. Now, there's a trick to this because Facebook doesn't like you to force people to like, share, or tag in order to enter, and that isn't where we actually choose the winner from. So that's why we say, please like, share, and or tag a friend, and then enter here, which is where they give their email address for a chance to win. I think somebody had a comment about us not following Facebook rules or policies for our own giveaway, and that's how we've rewarded it to get away with that. So I'm going to show you here. It actually took them to a landing page where it was very simple. This was actually made in Constant Contact. This particular customer preferred Constant Contact. They entered their email address, their name, signed up. And from this campaign, I think this one collected like 400 or 500, and then the other one collected like 600 or 700. Because we did also a soft opening giveaway for this particular new restaurant too. So, you know, when you show them, and I would actually have pulled up, you know, maybe even the Constant Contact back end for the customer, so they could see the 1,200 emails. If it's WooBox, and you saw some examples in previous modules, I just log into WooBox, I show exactly how many emails were collected. Doesn't matter what landing page software or email software you're using, you can show verifiable proof of how these campaigns have worked, especially if they have any resistance. When you show social proof, it's very difficult for clients to dispute what it is that you're doing. They have a very hard time when it's right in front of their eyes, it's black and white. And I'll even say, listen, I don't have a fancy presentation. I don't have, you know, any brochures or anything like that to give you because I don't need that. I know that you need to see that what I'm doing works and that I can do it for you. And that's what I've showed you today. And that's how you present. You don't want to make it any more complex than that. Now, there's other things you can do. You can show off other parts of your services. You can show your packages and things like that. But the bottom line is, at this point, this customer is going to say, how do I get that? Or what's the next step? That's what you're waiting for. And sometimes after I'm done showing this, I might go and I might be completely silent and just wait for them to say it. If they don't, I have no problem assuming the sale. I got to move on. I got business to do. I might just say, listen, have I earned your business today? Or are you ready to take the next step? Because here's what the next step is. And I go right into it. Next step is we schedule a kickoff meeting, and we make sure that you don't wait very much more time getting started, getting some results for your business. You deserve it. That's how you do it. Keep it simple. I'm looking forward to hearing your success stories of how you're presenting. Thanks.